Very good morning to all of you. Today in this lecture, we will discuss classification of welding processes. There are many types of welding techniques used to join metals, and the welding processes differ in manner in which temperature and pressure are combined and achieved. Before talking about the classification of welding process, I want to tell you something about what is welding. Welding is a process for joining different materials. The large bulk of materials that are welded are metals and their alloys. Although the term welding is also applied to joining of other materials such as thermoplastics. Welding joins different metals alloys with the help of number of processes in which the heat is either electrically or by means of a gas torch. In order to join two or more pieces of metals together by one of the welding processes, the most essential requirement is heat, and pressure may also be employed, but this is not in many processes essential. So the use of welding is today technology is extensive. It had a phenomena rise since about 1930s. This growth has been faster than the general industrial growth. Many common everyday items, for example, automobiles, cars, and aircraft, ships, and electronic equipments and machinery, households, appliances, etc. These are the number of the examples of the welding processes and depend upon welding for their economical instructions. Now, the welding process is divided into two major categories. And plastic welding, it is also called as pressure welding, and another one is the fusion welding. It is also known as non-pressure welding process. But there are about 35 different welding and brazing processes and several soldering methods in use by industry today. There are various ways of classifying the welding and allied processes. For example, they may be classified on the basis of source of heat. For example, flame है या arc से हमें heat मिल रही है, etc. You can also classify it on this basis. And type of interactions, that is liquid fusion welding or solid state welding process. So, in general, various welding and allied processes. For example, first one is the gas welding process. Gas welding is further classified into four types: air acetylene welding process, oxy-acetylene welding, and oxy-hydrogen welding, and pressure gas welding. And next one is the arc welding process. Arc welding is further classified in many types. For example, carbon arc welding, flux coated arc welding, shielded metal arc welding, and submerged arc welding, and tungsten inert gas welding. It is also known as TIG. Another name is GTAW, gas tungsten arc welding process. This is the most important welding process. And another one is the MIG, metal inert gas welding process, is also known as GMAW, gas metal arc welding process. And there are big difference between TIG and the MIG. In competitive exams, one single question will come in front of you, that which type of electrode is used in TIG welding or MIG welding. कभी कभी ऐसे भी पूछ लेता है कि कंज्यूमेबल जो इलेक्ट्रोड होता है वो किस टाइप की वेल्डिंग में यूज होगा, एंड नॉन कंज्यूमेबल इलेक्ट्रोड यूज किस वेल्डिंग में होता है, टिक वेल्डिंग में जो इलेक्ट्रोड यूज होता है वो किस मेटल का होता है. So you know about this. So you have to keep in your mind that in tungsten inert gas welding, the electrode will be used of tungsten material, and it will not consume in the base metal. And in case of the MIG welding process, electrode material will be consumed in the base metal, and it will be the same metal as base metals. And another one is the resistance welding process. Resistance welding process is further classified into uh, three, four types. First one is the spot welding, and another one is the precision welding process, and projection welding, and flash butt welding process, and high frequency resistance welding process. So these are the many types of the resistance welding process. Another one is the solid state welding process. For example, cold welding process, explosive welding process, and diffusion welding process, forge welding, and friction welding, and ultrasonic welding, roll welding. These are the examples of solid state welding processes. And another one, thermochemical welding process, for example, thermite welding and atomic hydrogen welding. And last one is the radiant energy welding process. Energy welding process means electron beam welding and laser beam welding. These are the advanced type of the welding processes. Now we will discuss about plastic welding or pressure welding. When the metal piece acquire plastic start on heating, external pressure is applied. In this process, extremely applied force play an important role in the bonding operation. You know, pressure is the most important thing that will be impact your welding process. So you have to keep in your mind that pressure will be applied in case of the plastic welding process. And a group of welding process which produces coal sands at a temperature essentially below the melting point of base material being joined without additional filler metals in pressure welding processes. And now this is the fusion welding. It is also known as the non-pressure welding. The best example of fusion welding process is gas welding process. In this, I have told you that heat is obtained by the combustion of acetylene and the oxygen mixture. And the material at the joint is heated to molten state and allowed to solidify. And in this process, the joining operation involves melting and solidification, and external forces applied to the system do not play any active role in producing coal sands. So here is one thing you have keep in your mind, that external forces is does not essential. So it's usually fusion welding uses filler materials to ensure that the joint is filled. You know, if you there is a gap between, if you are going to join two metal together, and there is a gap between the both metals. So if you for filling this gap, you have to use the filler metal. Filler metal is used to fill the gap between the joining metals. And all fusion welding process have three requirements: heat, shielding and filler materials. हीट का आपको मैंने बताया ही है, हीट किस लिए यूज होती है, टू मेल्ट द मेटल. एंड अनदर वन इज द सिल्डिंग. सिल्डिंग के बारे में अगर हम बात करते हैं, ये हमने बताया सिल्डिंग गैस. सिल्डिंग गैस जनरली हमारी यूज होती है, प्लाज्मा में भी यूज की जाती है. सिल्डिंग गैस का फंक्शन होता है कि एनवायरमेंट में जो हमारे कंटामिनेशन मौजूद है, जो डस्ट के पार्टिकल्स हैं, वो हमारे वेल्डिंग जोन में ना चले जाए. अगर वो चले जाएंगे तो हमारा पोरोसिटी डिफेक्ट क्रिएट हो जाएगा. दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टाइप ऑफ द वेल्डिंग डिफेक्ट. तो मेटल की स्ट्रेंथ में हमारा डिक्रीज हो जाएगी. तो जो शिल्डिंग गैस होती है हेल्प टू प्रिवेंट द एंटरिंग या प्रिवेंट द एंट्री ऑफ एनवायरमेंट कंटामिनेशन वेल्डिंग जोन या मोल्टन मेटल पूल. So this is the benefit of the shielding gas. And another one is the filler material that I told you. It is used to fill the gap between the two metals. So these are some references you can go through online, and you can read. And thank you very much.